been to trucking school, and you've been through orientation. Now let's talk about what life is really like with a trainer. Hello and welcome. I am Trainer Allen, your OTR truck driving instructor. Today we're going to talk about your trainer and what life is like with a trainer. First of all, you've got to meet your trainer, right? Now that can happen many different ways. One way that it happens is at orientation. Sometimes your second or third day into orientation, you will meet your trainer. Sometimes you will have to sit and wait for a trainer. And that could, depending on how many trainers there are and how many trainees there are, that could be anywhere from 1 day to a week. Now, most of the time, it's not a week, but it can be. Also, it depends on your preferences. You know, did you say that you want a trainer that smokes or a trainer that doesn't smoke? Did you not have any preference? Whether your trainer is male, female, or other, whatever, if you had a preference on that, that can affect how long you have to wait for a trainer. So there's many different things that can affect how long you have to wait for your trainer. But let's say that you just finished your orientation and you're now meeting your trainer. Your trainer has arrived at your orientation location, whether that be at a terminal, outside location, whatever. Your trainer is there to pick you up. Now what? Well, first of all, there's a few things I want to say about meeting your trainer. First and foremost, understand that your trainer is not your boss. Your bosses are your dispatcher, once you're on the truck, and your training coordinator. Those are technically your bosses. However, your trainer is your immediate supervisor. So when you meet him or her, definitely dress right, act appropriately, because how you dress, your attitude, all of that is going to affect that first meeting with the person you're going to be spending the next 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks with. Now, your attitude will determine how this meeting goes, plain and simple. You know, if you have a can-do attitude, if you have a, hey, I'm ready for this attitude, that first meeting with your trainer is going to go way better. So, yeah, your attitude does determine how you start this relationship. And hopefully you have a professional trainer that also understands that. If you don't, immediately contact your training department and let them know that you want another trainer. You know, if your trainer comes up to you and you just can tell from his general attitude, this guy's got issues, let the training department know. Because the training department doesn't necessarily know how trainers are unless you trainees actually let them know. And some trainers shouldn't be out here. They shouldn't be trainers at all. But more about that in another video. All right, so you're meeting your trainer. First thing I want to tell you, well, not the first thing because I've already went down through a list of things, right? But what I do want to tell you is, and I know I've said this in my previous videos, and I'll probably say this in every video I ever do. Patience. You know, I'm sure you've heard patience is a virtue. Well, in truck driving, it is key, because you don't have to just have patience with loads and patience with customers, but you also have to have patience with your dispatchers, your load planners, and in this case, with your trainer. You might be getting a new trainer, somebody that's never trained before. You might get a trainer that's had a bad weekend at home, just came off a bad weekend at home, or a bad week out on the road. It's hard to say what you might encounter. So take that into consideration and be patient. Now, you've met your trainer. Now what happens? Now you're going to get on the truck with this trainer. Again, be patient. Okay, the way they set up their space isn't necessarily the way that you would set up your space. A couple things to say about that. First of all, this is your first time in a truck. You probably don't have any idea how you should set it up. Okay. Now, this is part of the, trainer relationship. Okay, is that you get to learn from them some different aspects of what road life is all about. But respect your trainer's space. Keep in mind, this is his second home. And, depending on how long he's been with the company, he may have been in that same truck for the last year, and that is his home. Always remember that. Also, most companies allow owner-operators and lease purchase drivers to train as well. And in that case, you are on their property. Literally, okay? It's not just their second home, it's their property. And many truck drivers make the road their life. That may be their only home. So keep that in mind. You are in their space and in their home. So when you first get on, you'll want to find out where your things go. Where do they want you to put your stuff? Where do they want you to sleep? Are you getting the top bunk? Are you going to be on the bottom bunk? It really depends on the trainer, and it depends on you. When I was training, I actually, where I slept depended on the trainee. Female trainees always went on the bottom bunk. Elderly trainees, and when I say elderly, I mean 60 plus. And yes, if you're 21, 22, 23 years old, there are many people out here who are in their 50s and 60s that are coming out to drive for the very first time. Keep that in mind as well. If there was any kind of physical impairment for them, they went on the bottom bunk. Those were my rules. Those aren't every trainer's rules. Most trainers always take the bottom bunk because it's their home and that's where they always sleep. And the trainee always goes up top, no matter what. Okay, so find out where they want you to sleep. Something else that you need to discuss with your trainer is, do either of you have allergies or other medical conditions that the other should be aware of? Emergency medicines like EpiPens, anything like that. These are things that you'll both want to know about the other because, well, it's important. Say you're allergic to peanut butter. Well, your trainer loves peanut butter, and he's always eating peanut butter. Guess what? You probably shouldn't be on that truck. Okay? A lot of us truck drivers going down the road, instead of munching on chips like some do, some of us will snack on peanuts. If you're allergic to peanuts, this is something that people need to know. And vice versa. So make sure you talk about that. And medical condition thing, in general, that's a big thing. I don't know. I can't even think of any medical condition right off the top of my head. But if you have a medical condition that you're aware of and, you could, whatever, you could swell up like a balloon. I don't know. This is something that your trainer needs to know about and vice versa. Where are the things you'll need to know about on the truck? Obviously, one of the first things that the trainer should do with you is make sure that you know where the fire extinguisher is, where your triangles are, all that good stuff. Take your time the first time you get in the truck and really look at all your gauges, buttons, everything, okay? Because those are going to be important. You may not be in the same kind of truck that you trained in when you were at school. So, a lot of things are going to look different. Ultimately, they pretty much all have the same things. So just be patient. You will learn them. Now, it's your first day with the trainer. Who's driving your first day? Who's taking off on that first trip? Different trainers have different ideas about this. Okay, some trainers prefer to drive the entire first day and just let you watch, talk to you, get to know you. Other trainers are like, hey, you're here. Get behind the wheel. It's time for you to start driving. Because the big thing about training is that you have a certain number of hours that you need to accumulate behind the wheel before you can move on to your own truck. So, again, different trainers do that different ways. Usually, me, if I had a new trainee that had never really been a road driver before, I would drive the first day for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you're getting in my truck, I want to get to know you. I want to know who this person is that I'm about to put behind the wheel of my truck. And you say, well, it's not your truck, it's company truck. Well, in my specific situation, it was my truck, not a company truck. Okay. But either way, again, it goes back to the truck that you're in is your trainer's second home. Respect that. Okay. But yes, I usually drove the first day. I talked a lot. I explained some basics. We went over some more of this stuff that I'm talking to you about now, about meds and things like that, just to make sure, because usually I've talked to them about this before they ever get in the truck, before we take off on that first load. But these are important things. So I will go over them 2 or 3 times to make sure that we're on the same page. So who's driving is that first trip? That's, may or may not be important to you. Some trainees it is important to, because they're you're ready to get in there. You're ready to get your hours and, get off that truck, get your own truck and go get some home time. I get that. Nonetheless, I want to know you and I want you to know me. Okay. Because ultimately we've got to get along for the next 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks, whatever. Okay. We've got to mesh up. We've got to be on the same page. But no matter who drives, whether you drive out on that first load or he's driving out, whatever, pay attention. Pay attention to what he's doing as he's driving. You might think, well, I just came out of school. I know how to do this. No, you don't. I wish I could say, yeah, you're 100% qualified. You're not. If you were, you wouldn't be going out with a trainer. Okay? That's the bottom line. And you need that trainer and you need that experience. And that experience and how it turns out is largely dependent on you and your attitude, your willingness to be patient, and your willingness to pay attention and learn. All right? So whatever happens, pay attention. Listen, watch. You are there to learn. Show that you care about what you're being taught. Show that you care that this man or woman is taking the time to teach you what you need to know to be successful out there on the road. Because as a trainer, that's our job, and we want to do it right, and we want to do it in a way that makes everybody happy. You come out of it happier, we come out of it happier, the company's happier for it. That's what we want. Now, there are trainers out there who train for one reason and one reason only. They want the money that they can get from training. If that's the case with your trainer, okay, and you're not going to be able to tell right away, but within probably a few days, you'll know that, hey, this guy's in it just for the money. He doesn't really care what I learn, okay, and you're going to know that through a few things. Number one, your trainer is not going to listen to anything you say, okay? They're not going to answer any questions, okay? Communication will not be their core value, and believe me, communication has to be a core value right up there with safety. Okay? So, communication. If they're not communicating well with you, they're not, trying to explain things to you, not answering your questions, that's a red flag. They're probably there for one reason only, and that reason is money. Try to get off that trainer's truck. Another way that you'll know if they're in it just for the money and not to actually train you is if they tell you, oh, well, I'm just going to go back here in the sleeper berth and let you get on down the road. You know what you're doing. You've been to school. That trainer's dumb. Plain and simple. First day out, first week, no. A trainer should not do that. That tells you they're in it for money. And that's inexcusable. And the third way that you'll know that they're in it for money is they will tell you, the only reason I do this is for the money. And some of them are that blatant about it, okay? And they may tell you that, and you can let the training department know, hey, this guy's only in it for the money. He's not really going to be teaching me anything, okay? The more trainees do that, the more the company knows, okay, yeah, this trainer shouldn't be out here. Okay, this trainer should not be training for us. And they'll correct the situation. But if nobody ever says anything, then there's an issue. Now, I'm not telling you guys to be rats, okay? I'm telling you guys that this is business, okay? You are out here to begin a new life, basically, a new occupation. And you want to do it right. And you have the right to expect that whoever is training you is giving it 110%, just like you are. Now, if you're not going to give it 110%, don't expect a trainer to give it 110%. Okay, if you're not going to give it 110%, if you're not going to listen, if you're not going to pay attention, don't be running off to say, oh, this trainer is terrible. He won't answer any of my questions. Did you listen to anything he said? Because I can tell you from experience, if I talk to someone about something over and over and over and over again, and they don't pay attention, eventually I don't give a rat's butt anymore. You know? So, I mean, it's a two-way street. You've got to communicate. They've got to communicate. You've got to work well together. Okay? So anyways, yeah, that's what to expect once you're on board with a trainer. And, you know, I hope I didn't run anybody off of doing this, but, you know, I'm here to give facts. I'm not going to butter anything up for anybody. I'm not going to make the trucking life and especially training seem like it's pie in the sky when it's not, okay? The next 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks for you are going to be tough. They're going to be mentally strenuous. There's going to be times where you really are second guessing if this is what you want to do. So be prepared for that. Now, I do want to say this. Take care of yourself. Definitely take care of yourself. At least once a day, call home. Preferably not while you're driving. Okay. Yes, if you have a Bluetooth, and yes, if the company you're with or your trainer says, yeah, you can, you know, make calls or whatever while you're driving, don't do it. At least not your first couple of weeks. You know, I understand, you know, phone rings, you got your Bluetooth on, hands-free, answer it, you know, hey, I'm driving right now, let me call you back. That's understandable, okay? But don't get on the phone and have a big, long conversation. There's no need for it. You need to be paying attention. That's your main job right now. That's your only job, okay? Don't mess this up. This is your only job. Your only job is to learn. Learn everything that you can. Take in everything that you can. Take it seriously. Do it right. Become a professional truck driver, not a truck stop truck driver, okay? Yeah, so anyways, thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.